Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, December 13th, 14th, and 15th. Wow. So the sun is in Sag and the moon is one sign behind in Scorpio. What a great combination. Sagittarius and Scorpio are two signs that just can't do anything but tell the truth. And the craziest thing is there's 3 planets in Scorpio: Jupiter, Mars, and the moon. And there's Venus, Mercury, and the sun in Sag. So we got this like wild fire, wild water. When someone has water and fire in their chart, it's at best a very psychic chart. And guess whose birthday it is? Tell me whose birthday it is. What day is his birthday? December 14th was Nostradamus' birthday. Do you know who Nostradamus was? It's such a crazy story. He had the capacity to write in like a parable, metaphorical language, and he predicted things like Hitler. Like, go Google Nostradamus. It was somewhere back like in the 15th century, and he wrote stories, and he had this download of information coming in where he was a prophet. So that's exactly what Sag and Scorpio do. Scorpio is extremely intuitive. They get information through their dream time. They get information through their gut. They feel things. And Sag says the thing. Sag is an uninhibited sign. They have no need to please you. They're just going to go blah. And because Mercury's still going backwards, why is no one throwing me anything at me? Because Mercury's, ouch, is still going backwards. I don't want to get hurt, that's why. Because Mercury's still going backwards, it's the time when the brain thinks in a different function. Like all those psychic people that have this combination of Scorpio and Sag, they can let their mind have downloads, like psychic downloads, and say things that we would all be like, I'm not going to talk about that. But when a psychic has the gift, and this happened to me in my whole childhood, I went to a psychic when I was very young, and she opened up this like glass and dropped wax in it. And she named 2 people, I'm going to say their names, Randy and Matt, who I knew in high school, that she said, in your whole life, you're going to still know them. And now look, I'm 84 and I'm still friends with Randy and Matt. She also told me that I was going to go on a car trip from Detroit to Alaska, which I thought was ridiculous. And the next year I was in a car driving from Detroit to Alaska. That's Scorpio Sag. That's like, who knows where her Scorpio picked up the information and her Sag had the courage to go blah. And then they say things. Most of us have intuitions, but we step over them. Not during this day. So during the 13th, 14th, and 15th, for those of you that are fascinated by psychic phenomenon, there's so much energy in the heavens. And that's the gift of Mercury going retrograde, is you get to let your mind consider and think outside the box and think of different ways of seeing things. And that's why you're watching these videos, because you're open-minded enough to believe the stars influence us. Well, what about psychics? What about invisible beings talking to you? What about knowing things in the future, said Nostradamus, and being able to download? That suggests that time isn't what we think it is, and that we could time travel if only I had a ticket to take off my seatbelt and just start time traveling. I'd go backwards first and look at the astrology of old, and then I'd go into the future and figure out, what are we going to do with astrology in the new? And that's why you're here, because you're helping me bring a time travel machine into consciousness by studying astrology. Astrology Answers said Deborah Silverman talked to them about stars. And I said, you bet.